what in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s,
Think about
yes.
the 20s.
What
Baby,
plenty, plenty.
What in the 20s is
I
going
am here for
on?
my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.
Welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Zamam Kize, and this is What's in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through it, baby. On today's episode, we're going to be speaking, I guess the working title is Do Not Camp in the Valley That You Were Only Meant to Pass Through. The way that I think about it is very often when we're embarking on a journey in life, a destination we're trying to get to, we don't really know all the steps that are needed to take to get there, right? We don't know all the paths we'll need to cross, like how long it'll take us to get there and all the rest. We kind of just know that this is a goal that we have for ourselves. And we hope that we just end up there somehow, that we hope that with the plans that we make and all of that, it will just kind of land us in that position. But if we had to know, that like it would take us 20 years or that we would go through certain things, endure certain loss and all of that, we probably wouldn't embark on those journeys to get there. And that's very often like why we don't really get the full picture initially. We just have like the goal of what we want and then we embark on this journey. And the thing about journeys and stuff is that along the way, you're going to keep making decisions, right? Choices, people that you're going to be around, relationships that you're going to entertain, jobs that you're going to accept, places and environments that you're going to choose to be in and live in. And these are all choices that we make on this journey to get to the goals that we want to get to this ideal life that we plan for ourselves. And the problem is sometimes we get a little too comfortable and dwell in certain spaces that were only meant to have us occupy them for a certain duration, for a little bit of time. And I think the difficulty is always trying to figure out how long that time is supposed to be, because we end up forming attachments to these spaces, to these people, to these relationships, to that job, to that environment, to the habits that we pick up along the way. And I guess in my mind, like the way that I always like to group things, or how I try to think of it at least, is that some people, spaces, jobs and all are either teachers, healers, or distractions. I think that healers, what's great about them is they're meant to mend something in us, something whether it's your inner child, your past trauma, something you've gone through that you haven't quite accepted yet. There are people that come into our lives that heal those wounds within us, that teach us how to get over certain things, how to make peace with certain things. There's certain relationships that are able to do that for us, that are able to bring us closer to a better self, a higher self, or just a more freer self at the very least. And I think that healers are such beautiful people because they're just able to see the best in you. You might feel like you're arriving as your damaged self, or you're arriving as this part of you that feels broken or hurt and all of that, and they're able to relieve you of that pain. They're able to bring you out of it and into a better and more fulfilled and whole version of you. Certain jobs and environments are able to do that too, awaken something in you, such as passions and desires and just an excitement and fulfillment with the things that you want to do and pursue with your life. I think that certain environments are able to heal things inside of you that make you just ready for the world again. I think sometimes we might, I guess, like a catastrophe can happen in your life that will pull you back from reality, that will make you just feel like you can't function anymore. And so you need to go to a certain space, a certain environment, you move, you go to a different city and all of that, to try to find a sense of self again, a sense of desire for living and all the rest again. I think that healers, they're so essential in the work that they do. In the same breath, when you go to the hospital, and you get medication and all of that, once you're healed, you need to get discharged. You need to go back home. And I think sometimes we try to hold on to certain people and space and stuff because they feel so good, because they've done something and work in you that feels so good. And you don't, when you're fine in the hospital, they're not going to keep you there. Like, they have to let you go. And I think that's the thing that we struggle with, is realizing when that relationship has come to an end, realizing when that partnership has come to the end, when the business agreement has come to an end and stuff. And it's like, it's so painful because that contract was so good. It healed something in you, it revived something in you. And I think that's what healers do, right? They revive and they breathe life back into you. And I think it's like, how can I separate and let go from this place, this person, this thing that has brought so much joy to me, you know? And it's like you wrestle with that, and it makes you insane. The fact that being there for longer than you were meant to can now cause potential harm. Because that's the thing too, like if you stay in the hospital long enough, you're just going to end up getting the diseases and viruses and stuff that are occupying in the space in the hospital, because you're just there for so long. And there's only so much your immune system can take, you know? And I think you need to get out of it. That's the thing. It's like you stay in there long enough that you stay in that safe space, I guess, long enough that you don't challenge yourself to grow, to do more, to be more, because it just feels easier, and you're so protected in the space of the healer. But it doesn't necessarily mean you are your best self. It doesn't necessarily mean you are everything you can be. Like, there's now more you can do with your life. You're now healed enough to move to the next season of your life. And I think we never make it to the next season as long as we keep holding on to this healer, whether it's a person, relationship, job, place, environment, and all the rest, whatever we decide to attach ourselves to. It's like therapy. I always say that I think therapy is great, and we should just be careful not thinking that this is your forever tool, you know? Like, I think some people, we end up depending on it so much that we can never leave. And then it's like, what was the point of therapy if you never leave a better version of yourself? Like, I think that what they're meant to do is equip you with tools on how to cope. But sometimes we get so attached to the therapist and going to therapy and all the rest that we think that there's no possible way that you could live life without them. And I think there's a danger in that too, because you're using it as a crutch and you don't know how to stand on your own because you keep needing somebody else to validate your feelings and your thoughts. But I think the point is to go find the tools that you need, to go find the coping mechanisms that you need to be able to function back in society as a better version of you. Then we get the teachers, lessons that we have to learn from situations we go through, whether it is, again, our relationships, the people we interact with, the jobs and stuff, you know, like lessons in life they can be so brutal. But some people, I think, genuinely do come into our lives to teach us something. I think some people do come into our lives to show us something about ourselves, to reveal things about ourselves. And sometimes those lessons aren't pretty. Sometimes those lessons aren't endearing and exciting. It can actually be quite painful. They can pose as a mirror to us. In fact, they can challenge us in ways that we never thought we would be challenged in life, that it may feel frustrating and infuriating, that you may feel stretched and all the rest, but nonetheless, it is teaching you something, things that you will need in the next season of your life, things that you will need on your journey to where you're trying to arrive to. And I think that's another painful situation to leave from, is like realizing that this situation you're in was only meant to equip you with what you need, but not necessarily to be a forever thing. Some jobs, you know, you might be thinking this is your forever job, and you realize you were only meant to learn certain skills from this space, but you could never grow to your full potential if you stay there. I remember a friend of mine saying, like, Zama, if I stay working for my family, I will never be I'll never make as much money as I want to if I continue to work for my family. And I thought that was so crazy because I was like, oh my word, like, it's so tough to think about walking away from, working for your parents and all the rest. It's like this beautiful thing that you guys have built together, but there's more that you want for yourself. And so that you need to pivot, that you need to redirect, you need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, what is it that you want? And how great can your dreams like expand to? And will it expand if you keep remaining in this place? Will your idea of love grow if you keep remaining in this relationship? Will you get to experience the depths and the health and everything that's so great about love if you choose to stay with this person? Everything that's great about friendship, if you choose to keep remaining and fighting for this friendship where you do not feel fulfilled in, will you be all that you want to be in this life if you choose to keep staying in environments that were only meant to teach you certain things? And these are also important things. These are things that will sustain you in your next season, things that will, make you stronger, will strengthen you in your next season, things that will feed you in your next season and stuff. And like I said, sometimes it's really painful, the lessons we have to learn in terms of the certain environments we may be in, because sometimes you might think that relationship you're in, you might think like, oh, that was so toxic and terrible and all of that. But perhaps, and you might be feeling like, oh, I wasted so much time with this person and stuff. But perhaps there was a lesson in there that you needed to learn about yourself in order for you to find the right love and partner and all the rest for you. That was something that it revealed in you about how you feel about yourself, about the inadequacies that you feel about yourself, about your attachment styles that you need to heal and all the rest. And perhaps it took that relationship to bring that forth. I always think about how life will, manifest teachings in a way that you will learn, in a way that you will understand it. So for a different person, it'll be a different kind of way that it will bring the lesson about. But the way that things are brought to us, it forces us, like the teachings will bring us to a place where we have no other option but to learn something from this because of the things that it triggers within us. And that's what I mean when I'm like, it's different for every person. Sometimes certain people can't do that for them. Certain places can't take them to that place where they have to look at themselves in the mirror, where they're challenged to be something more, do something more, and all the rest. And I think that teachers are really great because of what we learn from it, who we become out of it, especially if we choose, because sometimes we might miss the lesson completely. We might be so caught up in the emotion and the rage of being so upset and disappointed that this wasn't forever, that this wasn't everything that you wanted. We can be so caught up in our own sadness that we miss the whole point of that little part, that little moment of our journey where we were supposed to become something better. And that is your preparation phase. That is your preparation moment. And don't get so caught up in wanting to hold that relationship so bad that you don't think that better exists out there, that there is more for you out there. And then the other category, I call it distractions. I guess if you want to be biblical, the Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And I think sometimes on our journey, when we're met with certain distractions, that's precisely what it does. And if you stay in that valley long enough, it could be so detrimental because it could either hold you back, right? Hold you back from where you're meant to go. It could keep you stuck and stagnant and feeling like for some reason you're not getting to where you want to be. You're not being who you want to be. It can make you confused and make you want to change course. Like I said, it poses as a distraction, right? And so you get so confused in a way that you don't even know what you're doing anymore. And that is when I believe the enemy gets a hold of your mind. And that is that's when it gets dangerous, essentially, for me, is what I'm trying to say, is when when distractions get a hold of your mind, they're able to introduce things like doubt, able to introduce things like confusion and lack of discernment, able to make you think, what am I doing? Why should I be doing this? And now the destination feels so far that it feels safer to dwell in this distraction. It feels safer to keep in this habit that is going to destroy you in the next season of your life, to maintain this relationship that is going to hold you back from the goal that you're trying to get to stay in this job that has a toxic work environment and all the rest, because you've now told yourself that there is no job opportunity available for you. There is no more money that is available to you. This is the most that you're ever going to earn and all the rest. Like, it will start to confuse you so bad that you will begin to see your fears as truths. You will begin to see your failures as evidence that there is nothing better for you, that there is nothing more that you can attain. And it can be so spiritual, it can be so frustrating also. You constantly feel like you're hitting a wall, and it makes you sick inside. Like, why can't I do it? And it makes you so demotivated, discouraged, and you really will believe that this is it. And distractions, like I said, they can come in the form of people, relationships, jobs, environments, as I keep repeating myself over, because I need us to really understand that we have to be intentional about the spaces we occupy, about the people who we keep around us, the conversations we're having, what is coming out of your mouth. Your tongue is such a powerful tool because you're projecting things unseen. The way you're actually projecting how you feel, what you think, and all the rest. And these are all things you need to take into account, that if you're not practicing discernment, you're inviting that distraction to take over and to consume and confuse you from your goal. And if you let it control your mind, unfortunately, you will not inhabit your blessing. You will not inhabit your goals, and it's such a shame and a sad thing. And I get it. Sometimes we just get so overwhelmed by life and everything that has hurt us, everything that has destroyed us, felt like it destroyed us, everything that felt like it was meant to hurt us and break us and all the rest. And so we kind of feel demotivated to even strive for more, to even want more for ourselves. And it's so sad, because then we end up doing the devil's work for him. We end up doing the enemy's work for them and all the rest. When I say that, is like, they don't even have to work hard to convince you that you can't achieve it. You're already now telling yourself that. And like I said, you will create evidence in your life to support that statement. Your brain is such a powerful tool in terms of showing you what it is you want to see. And if that becomes your perception, that becomes your reality, essentially. And some valleys really were just meant for you to pass through. And I get it. Like, sometimes you think that this is it, and this is safe, and this is like, I can't let go of this person, I can't let go of this place, I can't. And it's so scary that we speak to ourselves like that we doubt ourselves like that, and that we believe in our doubts in these ways. But when you hold on to stuff and to things and all the rest, God can't work through you. The things that you were meant to see to fruition can't happen, because you're stuck holding on to the space that you're stuck in, to this place that you're still in, to this fear that you're still attached to the failures and the mistakes that you made in your past that still haunts you. And it's like, the work can't be done through you to revive you and all the rest, because you're so comfortable staying here. You're so comfortable in this really destructive and self-sabotaging cycle or ring, and it feels even harder to get out of it. So if anything, we need to practice acceptance for when a relationship has served its term, when we're at the end of it. We need to practice grace and peace and understanding for when that time comes, and understand that it's okay. Letting go is difficult. So please, I know that letting go is so difficult and frustrating and heartbreaking and disappointing because it feels like our expectations weren't met. But you were never meant to dwell here. This was not as big as your dream can go. This is not as far as your dreams can stretch and all the rest. You were never meant to camp here. You were never meant to build a nest here. You were only meant to pass through and take what you need from that experience. Take what you need in order to sustain you in your next season, in your next journey, on your next path. Take what you need in order to be the version of you that can survive your next season. Don't hold yourself back. It's not worth it. It will never be worth it. And always remind yourself, affirm that you're worth more. Affirm that there is more. Affirm that there's abundance. You exist in abundance. And so you will always have enough. You'll never run out. And I think when you move with that spirit and a spirit of gratitude, it becomes a lot easier to let things go. And don't focus too much on what you don't have, because then you'll never have enough. Just like I said, like practice having a spirit of gratitude for all that you have and all that is yet to come. There's a lot more peace in releasing things from you and welcoming even better. But yeah, as always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What in the 20s is going
In the
on?
20s,
Think about
yeah.
the 20s.
The 20s,
What
baby.
in the 20s?
Plenty.
What in the 20s is
I
going
am
on?
here for my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.